I briefly covered NPCs in an alternate video, specifically the Make Your Skyrim Stunning video. I've talked about overhauls like RS Children and Windsong Immersive Character Overhaul. However, now I want to focus on the people all across Skyrim, whether they're travelers or locals to a specific town or city. Hello, my name is Soul and welcome back to Skyrim VR Top 10s. These top 10s are mainly brief descriptions and brief visuals of the mods, and they are confirmed to work in VR. If you want a more in-depth review of a particular mod, let me know in the comments. Before I begin, if this video helped you decide on a mod or you simply enjoyed the input from this video, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more VR and comedic content. I also stream on Tuesday and Friday on 3 platforms, Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. Linktree is in the description. Also, if you'd like some modding help from me or you just want to join my community, join the Soul Chamber, my Discord server. Again, these mods will be focused on the citizens of Skyrim, some large, some small. Now let's observe the people of Skyrim in a non-stalker way. First off, we'll plunge our Skyrim VR into an overhaul. High Poly NPC Overhaul, an appearance overhaul that touches on all NPCs, whether it's to base game or DLC. This is a good alternative to Wicco, in my opinion. This also touches up on the bandits and more. The only NPCs this does not cover are the children. They're devils anyway, so what's the point? Especially Braith, that little brat. This overhaul requires a few other mods to work as it intends, so read the requirements of this mod and the requirements of those requirements. It's a lot to do, but the overhaul is worth it in the end. This overhaul uses a hair mod, which isn't exactly lore friendly, but we can extend the textures to be a bit more lore friendly-ish. Salt and Wind KS Hairdos Retexture, which changes the textures of anything KS Hairdos related, which KS Hairdos makes the hairs of this mod to be more close to the vanilla Skyrim textures and make them look rough. I also wanted to point out, if you're having face discoloration or a dark face bug with some NPCs, there is a VR mod fix that you could get. It is called Face Discoloration Fix. Just make sure you get the VR version if you acquire this mod. The next one is a mix for Skyrim inhabitants and more immersion for the roads that make Skyrim. Lanterns of Skyrim II, a redesign of an older mod by the same name, minus the 2. It adds some improvements compared to the original, as well as more additions, and allows for more compatibility for other mods. The lights are improved and so on. However, we want to cover the citizens and travelers, right? Within the foam mod, there is an option to enable lantern workers, which essentially adds a system to maintain the lanterns throughout Skyrim for each region and hold, which increases the amount of immersion. Within those regions, there will be workshops where those workers are held for their tasks and so on. They can travel alone or be with some guards to have some protection. This adds more to traveling, just by passing by some workers doing their duties in lighting Skyrim's roads. The guards of Skyrim either have one-liners or just simply mock you or be rude. Well, this next one doesn't fix the rudeness or mocking to an extent, but it can expand the dialogue and fix any bugs the previous dialogues had. Guard Dialogue Overhaul, or GDO for short. GDO adds more realism, dialogue, and respect in conversations with the guards. The immersion has increased just from the guards themselves not repeating themselves, as that was a common occurrence in the vanilla game. The guards won't be in a loop any longer once they've been exhausted. It's no more of the "what is it? What is it? What is it?" loop. The player has more options when respect is set in play as well. Like, for example, if you're a Thane, they will acknowledge you are a Thane and say the title Thane in their dialogue. After the player has earned enough praise from doing quests across Skyrim, the respect towards the player grows with it.
If you're an Imperial spy, you better turn around right now. Everything's all right? Brigands I can handle. This talk of dragons, world gone mad, I say. I mostly deal with petty thievery and drunken brawls. Been too long since we've had a good bandit raid. You see those warriors from Hammerfell? They've got curved swords. Curved swords.
To expand the guards even further, as well as every other faction in Skyrim, Diverse Skyrim's SSE adds over 300 new NPCs with appearances that are unique to them. It adds variety and racial diversity while remaining lore-friendly across Skyrim. Originally, if you truly paid attention to the vanilla game, it had specific races set to different factions. Elves made the majority of vampires, Jazargo being the only magical talented pussycat, and orcs not being in the Legion, even though orcs have been stated to be an asset to the Legion. All the stats, levels, and items are all done through the vanilla level list, so you don't have to worry about that at all. This mod adds to the guards, stormcloaks, the Legion, Dawn Guard, and more. This mod is also compatible with other mods that would add to these NPCs, like Cloaks of Skyrim and our next one. Wet and Cold. A mod I've covered briefly as a bonus for the Immersion, yet a mod I want to touch on a little more. Wet and Cold adds visuals dependent from weathers and specific conditions. This mod may be weather dependent, yet this also affects NPCs. Wet and Cold adds dripping effects, breath, snow effects, and ash effects for Solstheim. Another addition this mod adds is gears like hoods, cloaks, and face covers. NPCs will wear specific gears to keep them safe from the weathers that are currently happening. NPCs will also take shelter if the weather is too harsh for them to handle. These effects are also race specific to a small portion. For example, Argonians will not wear a hood if there is rain. To expand a little more on taking shelter, we can add Run for Your Lives, a very small mod that makes the citizens of Skyrim flee in terror in the events of a dragon or vampire attack. In the vanilla game, the citizens would absolutely bombard the dragons and vampires that attacked their town, even if the citizen was the kindest of souls. The NPCs now run and hide in terror, and the NPCs who do not have a home in that town or city would go to the nearest inn. The citizens have become more smart and not take life for granted and wish for a quick death by a vampirism or becoming cinders from a dragon's breath. Good job, Nazim. Too bad you're still kicking, though. Before we get into the meat and potatoes to make this list as tasteful as that sounds, we can add a quality of life mod that affects the helmets for our fellow citizens of Skyrim. Improved Closefaced helmets, a simple mod that simply relinquishes the eyes of citizens from their blasted helmets. All races are supported as well and have unique models to their helmets, meaning helmets fit their heads more. The sockets of helmets are no longer darkened or just pitch black. We can finally see our allies' eyes. Allies' eyes. Allies' eyes? Allies' eyes. I think I said it right the first time. This is also compatible with any textural replacer of your choosing, so pick what you like. I use the Medium Born's Book of Silence. Our last three mods can enhance the AI and have a more realistic feeling of being around a civilization. The first of our three is Immersive Citizens AI Overhaul. This mod drastically improves the AI of friendly NPCs to make them act more human, whether the setting is in peace or in a state of peril. Survival is their goal compared to the previous balls to the wall facing death situations. Each NPC has a more realistic behavior. This also includes traveling, schedulings, and have better responses to the rest of the world. Some NPCs travel, some gather to inns and converse, and like Run for Your Lives, some NPCs know when to flee in terror. And the two are compatible, by the way. Immersive AI Overhaul is one of the largest mods out there to increase the immersion and to be more realistic, and putting this in VR just makes it worthwhile. There's much to cover with this mod, however. If you would like a more in-depth review of it, please be sure to let me know in the comments. Now, adding more to Immersive Citizens, we have a Relationship Dialogue Overhaul, or RDO for short. RDO adds more than 5,000 lines of dialogue that is completely voiced from the vanilla game. You just splice together to make it work. Any and all NPCs have more to say to you. This also adds dialogue that was cut from the original game. All voices have access to the follower dialogue as well, if you want it to work that way. The main premise of this mod is that friends will now speak to you as a friend, followers will have more to say to you, and when you speak to them and treat you like a person worthy of being followed. And if you're married to a follower, your spouse will treat you more as a spouse instead of acting like a normal follower. This also applies to people who dislike you. Insults can occur, and if they're annoyed enough, they may stop talking to you. For example, if you pester a specific NPC, they can gradually dislike you. If you do an NPC many favors, you can befriend them. Now that's a good way to get Nazim to shut up about the Cloud District. Make him hate you. Pester the Weasel. 10 out of 10, solid plan, might try. To apply the immersion of these NPCs even further to become more real, we can add a realistic conversations. This mod was intended for the use of the previous two, so if you get them, there's no reason not to acquire this one too. The denizens of Skyrim will now talk more frequently with each other and will not hound you from a distance, whether it's to speak with you or to simply greet you. No more arigato robato and more of a hello there. This mod also covers mods that adds NPCs, which works well with our other mods, and other ones from any other mod that you have added or that I've suggested in the previous top 10s. The NPCs will also now have more emotions and show more expressions. Another small tidbit this mod adds, which makes it so special, is the spacing between sentences of dialogue. In the vanilla game, there are some cases where there's a dramatic pause in the dialogue. This mod gets rid of those obnoxious pauses and has a more realistic feeling while there are conversations going on, making it more real. Said real twice, essentially. Making Skyrim VR a more pleasing state is a dream, a wondrous thought. By making the people of Skyrim more real, this just extends our joy to interacting and being near NPCs. Making Skyrim VR a more realistic feeling in a setting that makes us want to be in it more. This makes us actively listen to our surroundings and unintentionally eavesdrop on conversations. The NPCs are no longer in that same old loop of waking up, going to work, and making super small talk, and then going home to sleep. At the end of the day, with these mods installed, our immersion is increased tenfold. Marketplaces are more filled with life, inns are more humble and festive in the night, and so on. Skyrim VR should have been this way from the very start. Yet, we're not done yet. There's still more we can do in the future to make the VR version of Skyrim much more real. Well, that's it for this top 10 mods you could have to enhance your Skyrim VR for the citizens, the denizens, the people, the inhabitants of Skyrim. If you have a specific category or role-playing type of character you want me to cover for your Skyrim VR, let me know in the comments. It gives me ideas for these videos. Be sure to endorse the mods you've downloaded to support the creators and encourage them to do more or to just give them pride. All the links for these mods will be in the description below, as well as a link tree for my socials and streaming platforms. Don't forget to join the Discord to be up to date with my content or just to chat with me and my fellow compatriots. If you liked any of the mods or found this helpful, be sure to like the video. Also, you can see these mods in action on my Skyrim VR roleplay series, which is posted every Sunday morning CST, no later than noon. If you're interested in other VR content as well as comedic moments, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell to get notified of these future videos. And one last thing is to keep your soul free.